Hey yo, what's up? In this video, we're going to go over the 10 most unique and interesting chords that I have found over the years of playing guitar. So let's jump straight in. Hey yo, it's Alex from BMIN Music, and as always, it is my mission with this channel to help music producers produce themselves by developing their mindset, expanding their creativity, and connecting to their inner artist in a deeper way. All right, so the guitar is definitely my favorite instrument. I grew up playing guitar. I still play it regularly. It's my primary tool in music production. It is in most of my songs that I write, and it is my handy companion. And over the years, I found some really cool chords and some really cool concepts that I want to share with you that might help you find some new creative sounds, some new creative textures to play with on your guitar. So whether you're a veteran guitar player and just want to learn some cool new chords, or if you just have a guitar sitting around in your studio and you use it once in a while to come up with new chords, chord progressions, song ideas, this video is for you. All right, let's start talking about some awesome guitar voicing, some cool chords, some vibes that you can find these. You can change them to your own preferences, and these can be starting off points for really exploring new, different sounds. So before we jump into looking at the chords and some of the cool voicings, I just want to say a couple things about this instrument. So the beautiful thing about the guitar is that there are many different places to play the same exact note, and because of that, it allows us to shift chord shapes and change the voicing or the ordering of the notes very easily. And I'll show you that with the first few chord examples so you can see creative ways of how you can move notes up or down octaves, rearrange them to make different cool chord shapes and voicings. So another really cool thing about this instrument is that you can play the open strings along with chord shapes that you're holding. And this will actually allow you to play notes in a lower octave or a slightly different voicing if you include some open strings. So for example, if I have this Lydian type chord, which we'll cover a little bit later. So in this chord voicing, I can actually hit this open A string, which will bring a different octave instead of this 12th fret A string. And if I hit that, it really adds a cool color to this cool voice, this open string. Right, instead of this. Which is also cool, but adding those open strings can really add some cool color. All right, so the first chord I want to show you looks and sounds like this. Very nice vibey chord. All right, this is what is called an add 9 chord. And an add 9 chord is basically you're adding a 9 on top of your major triads, your basic major triad. Right, you're adding a 9 on top of that. All right, so if you think of your major scale in G, since it's a G chord, we're adding the second into the chord voicing, which gives it a nice open sound, nice open flavor, very vibey, and I love this sound. As you'll see with the other chord examples, I love throwing this into chords. So we're playing this, but just an octave higher up here, and we're adding that to our major triad. All right, so to play this chord, you're going to grab the 3rd fret of the E string, you're going to play the open A, you're going to play the open D as well, and you're going to grab the 2nd fret of the G string, and then you're going to play the open B string as well. Right, and for these first few chords, I'll break them down a little bit so you can see behind them. All right, if we break this down real quick, we're grabbing the root on the low G. So this is a G add 9 chord. Then we're grabbing the 2 on the open string here, right? This is our second note of our major scale. We're playing it on the open string here, which gives it that sus2 vibe. Then we're playing this open D string, which gives us our 5th of the chord. Right, then we're grabbing the 2nd fret here on the G string, which is our add 9. It's basically just an octave of the 2nd note of our major scale, which really gives it that add 9 sound, right? And without playing this high string, this is just a sus2 add 9 kind of vibe, but once you add this high B, this is our major 3rd. Very beautiful sound. All right, and with these first few chords, I'm going to show you a few different chord shapes and chord voicings to inspire you to play around with different inversions, different ways of playing these chords and making them your own. So that's another way to play the same chord. Notice how it has the very same vibe, a slightly different voice. So to play this variation, you're going to play the 3rd fret on the E string. You're going to grab the 5th on this A string. You're going to play the open string underneath, which is the same note. Then we're going to grab the 4th fret on the G string. Right, then you're going to play the open string once again, and these are just the same note. And then we're going to grab this 5th fret on the E string, on the top E string. And all together it sounds like this. Right, so this is basically the same notes as our first chord, just in a different order, different inversion, different voicing. And to compare what we're doing here versus this, let's actually compare them. So we're actually playing the same root note, right? And then we're playing the 5th here instead of the open string like we did in our first voicing. We're playing it here instead. Then we're also playing that open note if we want to. And then we're playing, right, our major 3rd right here. We're grabbing that here. And then we're playing an octave of it with the open string. And then we're grabbing our add 9 up here. So notice how it's exactly the same notes, but they're just placed in a different order. Right, and that's a beautiful thing about the guitars. You can find all these chord shapes that articulate the same vibe, but just in a different way. All right, so I'll show you another way to play this exact same chord, just in a different voicing, just to inspire you to play around and find different ways to play these chords, because you can really familiarize yourself with the fretboard as well as find really cool, unique voices that you can make your own. So you can actually grab this G up here on the 10th fret, right? Then we can play our major triad and add our 9 here. Right, so whether you're playing it here, or playing it here, all the same chord, same vibe. All right, the second chord looks like this. Right, and this is a major 7 drop 2 voicing. I looked up the technical term. I'm not that strong with music theory, so I had to look up the exact definition of this. But that's what the technical definition is. Major 7 drop 2 voicing. So this is basically just a C major 7 chord. It is just a beautiful chord to know. There's a bunch of different ways you can play it. All right, so to play this chord, we're going to grab the 3rd fret of the A string. We're going to grab the 5th fret of the D string. We're going to grab the 4th fret of the G string. And we're going to grab the 5th fret of that B string all together. All right, so if we break this chord down real quick, we're playing the root, the 3, the 7, and we're grabbing our major 3rd up here. It's a great voicing to know, for sure. So another way to play this chord is to grab the exact same chord up here. So this is grabbing your root here, and then, so this is the 10th fret of the D string, and then the 12th fret of the G, the B, and the E string. Very much the same chord, just higher. You could also maybe play these open strings. That's a cool voicing. And I'll give you a different voicing. This is cool. Again, this is all the same vibe. This is a slightly different version. Right, with this inversion, we're playing the root, the major 3rd, the 5th, and then the 7th. Another cool voicing of the C major 7 chord is playing it like this, which would be this sound. All right, so this voicing is grabbing the 10th fret on the D, grabbing the 10th fret on the G, 10th fret on the B, and then the 12th fret on this high E string. Right, beautiful. Alright, this is a beautiful sound, and keep in mind that these are movable shapes. So I invite you to experiment with playing these in different places of your fretboard. Alright, the next chord we're going to look at is this one. A little bit of a stretch. This is a great sounding chord. And this is what would be called, I guess, an A dominant chord with added 4 or an added sus4. And it's great if you're messing around and mix a Lydian. What a magnificent sound. So I'll show you how to play this one. So we're going to grab the 5th fret on the E string. Then we're going to mute our 2nd string. We're going to grab the octave. So the 7th fret of our D string. Then we're going to play the 6th fret of our G string here. Then we're going to stretch and bar the 3rd fret on the B and the 3rd fret on the E up here. Right? What an awesome sound. You could also play this voicing without the low octave here and just play this voicing. And in this chord, we're basically playing the root, the major 3rd. We're adding that sus4, and then we're playing that 7, that flat 7 on top. Beautiful sound. All right, this next chord we're going to look at sounds like this. Super dreamy, mysterious chord vibe. And I'm not exactly sure what this chord is called, but I'm going to call it the Lydian chord because it's a great chord to outline the mode, the Lydian mode, which has a very unique sound, very dreamlike sound, otherworldly, dreamy, all those kind of vibes. So to play this chord, we're going to grab the 12th fret on the low E. Then we're going to play the octave of that 12 on the D string, the 14th fret. Then we're going to grab the 13th fret of the G string. But then we're going to play this 11th fret of the high B string, which gives you that sharp 4, that tritone sound, but it gives it that mystery, that ambience. So if ever you're playing around in Lydian, right, so you can really experiment with playing that Lydian scale over this type of chord, or a chord progression that uses the Lydian sound. Something like that. So in this case, you could play your E Lydian scale. Stuff like that. All right, the next chord we're going to look at is this chord. I remember falling in love with this chord when I discovered it a long time ago, and it's always stuck with me. And again, this chord is making use of both a sus2 and a sus4 vibe. So to play this chord, we're going to play the 5th fret on the A string. We're going to play the 4th fret on the D string. We're going to play the open G. Then we're going to grab this 3rd fret on the B string here. And we're going to also play the open E string on the top. Super nice, dreamy, open vibe, and really making use of that sus2 and that sus4. Right, so we're playing root, major 3rd, sus4, octave of the root, and then the sus2 on top. Beautiful chord. Another cool way to play a chord like this is up here, this kind of sound. Very similar vibe. We're just taking out one of those sus's. So to play this one, you're going to grab the 12th fret on this D string. You're going to grab the 11th fret on the G string. And you're going to grab this 8th fret on the B string. And then the 10th fret on the high E. So it's a little bit of a stretch, but it's a great chord to play. All right, so with this voicing, we're basically just taking out that high sus2 voicing, and we just have that sus4. So we have that root, we have the major 3rd, we have our sus4, and then we have the octave of our root at the top. Beautiful chord. All right, so up to now, we've looked at major chords, actually, which are uplifting, dreamy, mysterious, all those kinds of things. But I figured I'd split the list 50-50 between major chords and minor chords. So let's look at some minor chords, which can be darker. However, they can equally be as beautiful. So let's look at some of those. All right, so this next chord I'm going to show you looks like this. All right, so to play this chord, we're going to grab the 3rd fret on the low E. You're going to mute this next string. You're going to mute the A string. You're going to grab the 3rd fret on the D. You're going to grab the 3rd fret on the G. You're going to grab this 1st fret on the B string. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the C. And then you're going to grab this 2nd fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 3rd fret on the G. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 3rd fret on the C. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the G. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the C. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the G. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the C. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the G. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the C. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the G. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the C. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the D. And then you're going to grab this 1st fret on the and then you're gonna hit the open E on top. Beautiful chord. I love this. Very fusiony, very sophisticated, jazzy. Love it. Really accentuating that Dorian mode. All right, so if we break down this chord, actually, we're playing the root down here. Then we're playing the flat 7 interval, which is a really cool interval. I love that. Then we're playing the minor third on top of that. All of our other chords had the major third, but now we're playing with a minor third. All right, so root, flat 7, flat 3. Then we're grabbing up here, we're actually adding a sus4 again. I'm kind of obsessed with those sus sounds. And then on the top here, we're actually adding that major 6. So we're actually hitting all of the major colors of this Dorian scale right there. All right, another way to play that Dorian chord is like this. Right? Slightly different voicing once again, but equally as beautiful. So to play this voicing, we're going to grab the 10th fret of our A string, then we're going to mute the D string, we're going to grab the 10th fret of our G string, then we're going to play the 11th fret of our B, and then grab the 8 of our high E. Alright, so again, these are a lot of the same notes as this chord, just in a slightly different order with a different voice. Alright, so the next chord I want to show you is this one. Such a beautiful chord. I like to call this the uplifting minor chord because it sounds so uplifting, however, it's still a minor chord. So to play this one, we're going to grab the 4th fret on our A string. We're going to grab the 6th fret on our D string. Then you're going to stretch all the way over here to grab the 2 on your G string. So that's a little bit of a stretch. And then we're going to hit the open B and the open E on top of that. Beautiful sound. Right, so if we break down this chord, we're actually playing the root down here, then we're grabbing this 5th, and then we're stretching over and hitting that really dissonant flat 6. Right, that flat 6 interval is very minor sounding, very dissonant, very dark. Right, then we're hitting that 7th, the flat 7, and then we're hitting our minor third on the top string. I think it's because the separation of the minor third is so far, like the third is on top, that it doesn't sound dissonant at all. It doesn't really sound sad. But if you play it right beside each other, that sounds pretty sad. But like this, sounds pretty open, right? So that's maybe why this chord sounds a little bit more uplifting. Beautiful. All right, another way to play this chord is like this. Such a beautiful chord. Right, and you can play your minor scale over this. Alright, so to play this voicing, we're going to grab the 4th fret on the A string. We're going to grab the 7th fret here on the D string. Then you're going to hit the 4th fret on the G string. That's a bar. Then you're going to grab this 5th fret on the B string. And then bar again to grab the 4th fret on the high E. All right, the next cool chord I want to show you is this one. And I like to think of this one as like the mysterious minor chord because it feels unresolved. There's a lot of tension in that chord. Right, think of, I don't know, like Zelda Link to the Past or something that has progression, something like this. Right, really mysterious, you can really have some fun playing around with that tension. Alright, so to play this chord, we're going to grab the 9th fret on this D string. Then we're going to play the 11th fret on the G string. You're going to grab this 8th fret on the B string, and then you're going to sneak the 10th fret on the high E up here. Right, and if we break down this chord, we're playing the root, we're playing the 5th, then we're playing that flat 6. So So we're getting extreme dissonance here, and then we're stacking that minor third on the top. So this dissonance really creates a lot of tension. Mind you, keep in mind that our last chord was also having some dissonance, right? But in a beautiful context. This one has some dissonance, but in a little bit more of a mysterious context. All right, this next chord I want to show you is what is called the Phrygian chord, and it looks like this, sounds like this. Right, it's kind of got an exotic flavor. There's some mystery to this chord for sure. So to play this, we're going to play the 5th fret on this low E, and we're going to mute the A string. We're going to grab this 8th fret of the D string, get that half-step dissonance. Then we're going to grab this 7th fret on the G string. We're going to grab the 6th fret on the B string. And then you're going to play the open E on top. And this chord really encapsulates what the Phrygian mode is all about. So if we break down this chord, we're actually playing the root here, and then we're playing the minor second of here, which is a very dissonant interval. It's basically this interval. Think Jaws, but we're playing it an octave higher. Then we're playing a 4th on the G string. Then we're playing that minor 6th on the top, which adds that like exotic color, that darkness. And we're playing the 5th on the top. So we're not actually playing the minor third in this chord. So it's not technically a minor chord, but you're really outlining everything about that Phrygian scale. In one chord. A couple cool chords you could play to really outline that Phrygian sound is to play the exact same chord we just went over, but just bring this root note up a half a step, and then resolve this just down to your normal minor chord, half a step lower. Right, and then just play this chord and resolve it half a step down. So if you're playing in minor, rip that chord out. And it's just begging for you to play Phrygian on top of it. All right, in this last chord, I kind of wanted to have fun with such an extreme sound. And hey, you get bonus points if you can manage to use this in a song that I didn't take it from. All right, so this chord, I'm going to call it the tritone chord. And if everyone knows what this would technically be called, let me know because I'm curious. But it looks like this. All right, that is a wild chord. This would be extremely difficult to work into a song, but I'm going to show it to you anyway, because why not? So we're going to play the 2nd fret here on the low E. You're going to grab the 3rd fret on that A string, which is a tritone, which is that sharp 4, right? If you're playing the Lydian chord we went over, you can use the tritone in a really cool way with this chord. But if you continue, right, here's the octave, so we're going to play the 4th fret on the D string, and then we're going to play an octave once again of that tritone. So that's basically 2 octaves of a tritone stack. Right, so we basically have those 2 octaves stacked on top of each other of tritones. I'm going to play this 5th up here with the 2nd on the 2nd fret of the B string. Right, you could probably use this in a Lydian context if you're very strategic, or if you really want a crazy color. Then we're going to play the octave on the top, the 2nd fret of the high E, just like the 2nd fret on the low E. Right, so that's basically all it is that sharp 4 and then the perfect 5th. That's all we're playing. And fun fact, I actually ripped this from, if anybody knows the castle theme for Super Mario World, which is like one of my favorite games that I know like the back of my hand, the castle theme starts off like this. So So that's actually where I got that. So props to you if you can name this chord or use it in a song. And hey, if you're just getting started with music production and feeling completely overwhelmed by the process, or you're having trouble finishing tracks, or hey, if you just want to get a glimpse inside my personal workflow, I've created a super easy to follow 7-step framework that helps you go from your very first ideas to arranging your song, to editing it, then mixing it, all the way to a finished project. It's super intuitive. It's handy to have around the studio as a printout. So if you're interested in grabbing that, there's a link in the description below. All right, so that wraps it up for this video. And let me know, do you play guitar? Is it your tried and true music making companion? Or do you just have one sit around the studio that you play once in a while? Or do you not play any guitar but hope to play guitar? I'd love to know what role it plays in your music making. So if you found value in this video, give me a thumbs up. If you want to stay in the loop with BMIN music videos, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. And hey, let me know, what are some of your favorite things that you like to do on the guitar? I'd love to start a conversation down below. Drop a comment. And that'll wrap it up for this video. So we'll see you in the next one.